When I use Ableton Live on stage for tracks, I do not use Ableton Live's built-in metronome. In fact, we just wrapped up a series where I walked everyone through the 3-part framework for using tracks. I'll include links in the description of this video. And a lot of you noticed, hey, Will, you're never turning on Live's metronome. Why do you not use Live's metronome? A few of you said, is it because of time signature changes? What exactly is the thing that's keeping you from using Live's metronome? Well, I thought it would be cool in this video to share specifically 3 reasons why I do not use Live's metronome live and show you what I use instead. So big picture, before we get into those 3 reasons, instead of using Live's built-in metronome up here, I use something called Foundations for Live. And Foundations for Live is a click I created years ago. It's a MIDI click. So I use a MIDI clip that's programmed for a specific time signature. You could see this starts to get really fun. We go into a song like this that has multiple time signature changes that I have different clips based on the time signature. And then if you look at the actual instrument itself, you see there's some really basic controls, but those controls give me a lot of flexibility and a lot of reasons why I use Foundations over using Ableton's built-in click. Now, if you're interested in Foundations for Live, I've included the link in the description of this video where you can purchase it. Or if you become a From Studio to Stage student, you can get that for free using your credits that you get each month. And I should also mention Foundations is included in the advanced arrangement view template, as well as the basic tracks template if you purchase or download either of those using credits. But let's get into the reasons why I use Foundations for Live and not Ableton Live's metronome. Number 1 is subdivisions. And if you're not familiar what I mean by subdivisions, I don't mean the different individual places that people live in their neighborhood, different subdivisions. I mean this. So let me solo Foundations for Live real quick, and let's just listen to this just for a moment. So I'll play this song. You'll hear it. This song is at 70 BPM, but instead of just hearing this, 3, 4, and you may hear that and go, that click sounds fine to me, but hear how there's gaps in between each of those clicks. Because we're at 70 BPM, which is a slower BPM, there's space in between each of those clicks. So to make it a little easier, I fill out that space in between clicks with 1/8 notes, or if I wanted, I could fill out that space with 16th notes. Now, 16th notes has gone a little too far. I'm not a weirdo, but I want to fill in that space with 1/8 notes. Now, if I look at Ableton Live's metronome, thankfully Ableton did give us the ability, I believe in Live 10, to change the rhythm mode here. So if I start this over again, and let's turn off Live's click for just a moment, and let's listen to just Live's metronome. Okay, so you hear just quarter notes, but let's change this rhythm to 1/8 notes. Okay, and you can hear that's nice. It's nice that I have that built-in ability, but here's the problem. When I go to build a set live on stage, I have a lot of different songs built in my set. In fact, this set here has 12 different songs. Each of those songs has different BPMs, and you can hear this song that I just played to start with is at 120 BPM. And for that, I don't want subdivisions, right? So I'm going to keep that low or turn the subdivisions off to where it's just quarter notes. So I need the ability to have subdivisions on slower tempos, but I need the ability to remove subdivisions on faster tempos. And there's no way, at least currently right now in Ableton Live, to automate changing those different subdivision levels. But even if there was, I need the ability to adjust the volume of those, because based on the setup, maybe even based on the song, or based on the in-ear setup, whatever it is, I may need the ability to have more 1/8 notes or less 8 notes. Or again, based on the song, maybe it is a song that's a little slower to where we want, let's turn Foundations back on so we can listen to that. Maybe we do want primarily 1/8 notes and just a little bit of 16th notes snuck in there. Using Foundations for Live, I get control over the volume of subdivisions and then also just the fact that I have subdivisions. So that's number 1. The ability to have subdivisions and change the volume of those is the number 1 reason, or reason number 1, that I don't use Ableton Live's built-in metronome. Now, reason number 2 is the ability to change click sounds. And I know you're going, but wait, Will, didn't you know you could do that in Ableton Live? Well, yes. And that's, again, a great feature. If we click this little drop down here, we could change the sound from the classic Ableton click, which it's hard for me not to use this click sound, to be honest, because I mean, I've just grown up using this click sound, but I can go to click here, and that's going to be a little more digital kind of Pro Tools-esque type click sound. Or we can go to Woodblock, which again is a click that some weird people like to use, and I'm not going to judge those people, to each their own, but I can change the sound of clicks in Ableton Live, and that's great. But with Foundations 3.0, I have a lot of different click sounds programmed in, so 9 just included. And as these play, so let's jump back here. As these play, you can hear, we could change our click sound. I can also turn the accent on and off on the click if I want to. Let's go back to our first one, kind of classic click sound here. So we can have an accent. We could take the accent off, and we could change our different click type sounds, including the ability to upload your own click sound if you want to and use that within Foundation. So I do love, and again, kudos to Ableton as a company for updating Live's click and giving us the ability to do subdivisions to select and change different sounds. But for me, the ability to have multiple sounds beyond just the 3 that are built in, as well as the ability to load my own click sound in, makes Foundations for Live the choice for me. So the number 2 reason why I don't use Ableton Live's built-in click when I'm formatting songs and when I'm using tracks live on stage is the ability to have multiple and different click sounds. Now, finally, number 3, and this is one that's better for me to show you than to try to explain. Let's go to this set here. So I'm going to come out of this song with some tempo changes, and let's change this click sound. This is an awful click sound. I did not like that. I'm a classic click kind of guy in Foundations. So as we get to the end of this click, this song is going to fade out here. Okay. And as this song fades out, I've got this space, this area in time where my stems are fading out, but I don't want click to happen there. Okay. So reason number 3, I use Foundations for Live, or I don't use Ableton's built-in click for live performance, is I can define when I want click versus when I do not want click. Now, it's very possible, and there's nothing wrong with doing this, that you could use the IEC driver, use a MIDI clip to automate when Ableton Live's metronome turns on and off, and do kind of a similar thing, right? You could set a clip to turn it on, you could set a clip to turn it off. That's completely possible. That's perfectly fine reason to do that. But what I like doing is I like knowing that here's my click, and whenever I don't see click, I know that I can be confident that I can jump to that section and I'm not going to hear anything. And then visually, I can look at the timeline and again, see that, okay, right when we start here, right at this song, boom, click is going to start again. So the number 3 reason I like using Foundations for Live over Ableton Live's built-in metronome is that I can define when the click is playing and when the click is not playing. And again, completely valid if you want to use the IEC driver to automate this, to make it to where you can turn the click on and off and use Ableton Live's built-in metronome. That's perfectly fine. But that's a 3rd reason for me that I don't like using Ableton Live's built-in metronome. Now, let me share a bonus reason, and this was pointed out by a few different people that said, hey, are you not using Ableton's built-in click because of time signature changes? And that's maybe reason number 4. That's kind of my bonus half reason, if you will. So 3.5, not 4. So here's a song that's a perfect example. I've got tons of time signature changes in this song. Because I'm using Foundations for Live, these time signature changes, particularly when I turn the accent on, are changing, and those time signature changes are changing with the click so that the band can follow and can stay in sync and know exactly where the downbeat is. As opposed to if I was using Live's metronome, it would be essential that I program my time signature changes in. So I would 100% have to go to insert time signature change, add a 3/4 measure there, add a 4/4 measure here, go on and program my whole song. In a situation, particularly with this live file where I know I'm not going to repeat a lot. It was sort of live recording, and if something messed up, we would just stop and start over again. So I'm not going to put a lot of effort into giving me the ability to jump around live in the moment. And so because of that, I'm not going to add time signature changes. And because I've got my Foundations for Live individual MIDI clips added in here, it's just going to play at the right time signature based on when that clip is there. So if I'm on a 3/4 clip, then it's going to play 3/4. If I'm on a 4/4 clip, then it's going to play in 4/4, as opposed to Live's click, which is just going to stay at 4/4. Now, I know some of you will set Live's click to where it doesn't correspond to time signature changes, to where it basically is just 1/4 or whatever the whole time that it just plays. And again, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, that's the number 4, or really like 3.5 reason that I do not use Ableton Live's Metronome Live, is to avoid having to add time signature changes into my set. Again, unless I need the ability to jump around, be flexible in the moment. In that case, I add them anyway. But there you go. So those are 3.5 to 4 reasons why I don't use Ableton Live's Metronome live on stage when I'm running tracks, and I choose to use Foundations for Live. If you're watching this, if you want to pick up Foundations for Live and purchase it or become a student and get it for free, perfectly fine. Check it out in the link in the description. But if that's not you and you're just starting out and you want to try this whole thing out and figure out, what are some different click sounds I can use in Ableton Live? Maybe you're not using Ableton Live and you just need some click sounds that you can use in Ableton Live. Or maybe you're looking for a template that you can start off with, I have tons of free track resources to help you get started with using tracks in Ableton Live. If you head to fromstudiotostage.com/free, that's from studiotostage.com/free. You could download my free tracks template, my free rendered click tracks, my free LTC files if you're using linear timecode, free guide cue files. There's so much good free content there that is, as you guessed it, free to use. So head to fromstudiotostage.com/free. You can enter your name and email there and download all that content for free. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. We'll see you next week, 10 a.m. Central. Keep the questions coming. Leave comments if you have questions, want further clarification, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.